everybody, Pegleg J here with a basic Shadow Caster build for beginner players so that way you can enjoy the game and just having fun times with WoW Ascension. So, for this build, this is just the basic. Go to Open Character Upgrades, and you want to grab Corruption, which is a pretty good dot. Corrupts the target, causing 44 shadow damage over the course of 12 seconds. Curse of Agony, which causes the target with Agony, causing 96 damage over 24 seconds. So basically it does about 48 damage, the same duration as Corruption, but does about 4 more damage, roughly. Then you want to go into Destruction. You want to grab Shadow Bolts, that way you do have a cast ability. So that way you can keep casting while your dots are going into effect if you're fighting something big. And then you go over to Shadow and you grab Shadow Word Pain, which is another dot that does another 42 points of damage over the course of 18 seconds. It lasts a little bit longer and the DPS is a little bit slower, but it's only for 9 mana, so you're able to do it pretty well. Then you want to choose Intellect for your ability, or I should say your stat priority, so that way you have increased criticals when it comes to dealing damage. Now, since you're not level 10 yet, you haven't gotten your talents yet, so you want to go in between Warlock and Priest in the Shadow, in those respective trees where they do those spells. Now, Destruction Lock has fire spells, which the main one that you really want to worry about is Shadow Bolt and Shadow Flame. And any other abilities that actually cause shadow damage going down the line. Now, you can hover over them, and each skill that you look over on the talent tree will tell you what they do, and you can go off of what they say and do it like that. Same thing with REs, random enchantments that you get from items that you may pick up along your way on your journey to level to 70. So you want to mainly focus on improving your Corruption, your Curse of Agony. You don't really need Curse of Weakness. Curse of Weakness doesn't really help you in this case, unless you're doing PvP and you're going up against the melee build, but you want to kill your opponent as fast as possible. So, once you do hit level 10, if this build is to your liking, and I will make other builds using the same character that I have right here, you can choose to whether you want to keep this build or change some certain things. If you are going to commit to this build, I would recommend on when you do level up to 10, because you will have an ability essence left over after choosing your skills. You should go over the Mage skill and grab Arcane Intellect, or you can, you want to grab Arcane Intellect no matter what in this case, because that will increase your intellect, which will overall increase your spell damage and also increase your mana pool. The larger your mana pool, the more spells you can cast, the more stuff you're able to do. Now, you also want to get anything that can deal with avoiding, so that way you don't get hit, trying to lose as much threat as possible, so that way you're not becoming the focus of stuff that's trying to kill you as well. Warlock Affliction has a lot of common shadow abilities that you can use that will help you. You can also get a pet from Demonology. I wouldn't recommend a Hunter pet for this build, mainly because a lot of the Warlock abilities actually work in tandem for your spellcasting abilities. I'm not sure with Hunter, but I'm going on the assumption that it doesn't work well with Hunter pet. Hunter pet's mainly good for more like melee classes that you want to build, or ranged classes as well. So yeah. This would be the starting shadow build that I would suggest to make off of. You want to go with anything that has high intellect, high spirit, probably stamina as well, because you want to get as much MP5 as possible. So Life Tap is a good way to convert your health into mana. So you kind of want to have it to where it's not your HP is not too low, if that makes any sense. So enchanting would be a good idea to have for getting those stamina enchantments or intellect enchantments as well. And if I remember right, leatherworking, eventually one of the armor kits gets you stamina as well. So with enchanting, you're only able to enchant certain items from back, chest, wrist, hands, legs, and I believe feet as well. But you probably want to use at least 2 slots for a stamina armor kit, so that way you just have that little bit of extra stamina, so that way you can convert it into mana. It may not be much, but a little stamina doesn't hurt at all. Now, as for what you want to do for when it comes to casting, the way that I usually do it is I usually just go roll down, but you can roll up. You probably want to start off with Shadow Word Pain, go into Corruption because it has almost the same duration, and then go into Curse of Agony because it has the longest duration out of all 3, and then hit them with a Shadow Bolt while all these are ticking down, and then rinse and repeat. So technically, I actually have my setup wrong. You can have it to where it's where mine is a 2, you want it 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, and then 1 over on 4. So that way you can get the most optimal amount of damage, because these are instances versus this is a casting time. These ones can be cast while moving, while with the Shadow Bolt you have to be stationary. Unless you have an RE, or there is an RE, that allows you to cast long channel casts for instance, or instant speed essentially. Because you could technically have your spell haste to where you can nearly cast it for instant speed. So that's just some basic stuff, so that way you guys can start off on for a shadow build. Now the next build I'm probably going to build would probably be, or I should say, the next basic build I'll probably build will probably be a tank build here next. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope this helps out on starting your shadow caster build, or gives you an idea or a semblance of starting on how you want to start. Have a good day, and goodbye.